Hi, this is Andy. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm a regular guy who works as a teacher and loves saving old pieces of furniture from the trash. Today, I'll be flipping a TV stand for a friend of mine. He bought a 55-inch TV and needed a piece for it. This is a TV stand I found in Facebook Marketplace. The piece was in fairly good condition, but it was old-fashioned. This video is part of the Spring Fling challenge hosted by Sabrina over at Saps Rehabs. Please check out her channel for amazing furniture ideas and beautiful flips. I'll leave a link to her channel in the description below. More than 20 other YouTubers are participating in this challenge as well. Please check the playlist below and don't miss any of the fabulous flips they will come up with. This piece is a little dirty, and some of the laminate has disappeared in some spots. However, it is in pretty good condition and it feels quite firm. Stay with me till the end because you will not recognize it. I'll start by removing all the screws and dowels that join the top to the body. Then, I'll disassemble the upper part. Those tiny shelves will be discarded. Apart from being old-fashioned, they take up space that will be needed for the big TV later. I'll start removing most of the damaged laminate with different grits. I'll start sanding the top that has some sort of hard candy or paint stuck on it. I'll use 40 grit. I know it is really coarse, but the stains are quite hard. This laminate is quite thin. Laminate is in fact paper or plastic glued to press boards. In this case, this looks like paper. I sanded with a 120 grit sanding sponge on those areas where the laminate is not really destroyed. I'll apply veneer on these pieces in order to make them look fancier. When these parts are sanded, it is time to clean everything well. You can't see it well on camera, but most of the laminate was reduced to dust and dirt. Now, it is time to apply some wood putty to all the holes that will not be used. As I told you before, some of the boards will be covered in veneer. In my previous video, I explained how to apply veneer the easy way. I'll leave a link to it in the description as well. I'll measure, cut, and glue the veneer on all of those planks and on the top. Now, going to the lower part of the stand, I'll replace the hinges because these are rusty and loose. I'm also going to be replacing that tiny hardware that seems to be plastic. I'm not going to be using those tacky plastic screw covers, so I'll get rid of all of them using my putty knife while I unscrew the remaining shelves. Now I'll tackle the rest of the TV stand. I'll sand it starting with 120 grit going up to 240. It's a lot of sanding. The bottom part is really dirty and the base is just the same particle board. I will be making a new base for it. I'll clean the lower part to get rid of all the dust and cobwebs, and then I'll nail the back panel in place. You can see that the previous owner must have needed to connect something through the back panel and made an irregular hole. I'll be fixing that later. After cleaning the doors, I'll be closing the holes with some 2-part wood putty. Now that everything is well sanded, it is time to give it a good clean. As it is particle board, and I don't want it to absorb too much moisture, I'll be applying some warm water and some dish soap with a lightly humid rag. I'll come back with clean water to rinse everything. There are confirmate screws all over the piece, concealed by those tacky covers. I'm going to conceal them by making the exterior side of the holes bigger so the screws can get deeper, and then I'll cover them with wood filler. When the glue of the veneer is dry and everything looks fine, it is time to cut the excess. My friend wants to buy a turntable to listen to his vinyl record, so I'll be adding a tray for that purpose. I bought this piece of particle board, and I'll be using it to make the tray. I'm going to install the slides to check how the tray fits. It touches the back. I'll just cut a little bit. Perfect. Here I'm sanding the wood filler that covers the screws. It is not perfect, but I'll be sanding it more later. Now I'll cut that base to have space for the new one. The slides for the tray are white, and they don't match the color scheme I have in mind, so I'll spray them with black paint. The new hardware is nickel plated, and I like it, but I really prefer gold. So I'll spray paint them together with some nuts. I'll cover the holes of the upper part with dowels, and I'll cut them flush when the glue is dry. I'll use wood filler in all the screw holes. Now I'll cover the front side of the tray with some edge banding. The color is not that important because it will be painted afterwards. I'll sand the edges smooth and then I'll scuff sand all the tray. Now it is time to start with the base. I measured and cut all the legs on the sides. I used wood glue and handmade pocket holes to create the base. To make the pocket holes, you must start drilling horizontally and then move the drill vertically. I added an extra piece in the middle to give it more stability. Before staining, I cleaned the base with 180 grit sandpaper. The back of the upper part is held in place with some hardboard that is really weak. I am going to use some floor planks to give it more stability. I'll nail them to the back of the upper part. I still haven't got to painting, but pretty pieces need lots of repairs and work. Here I am applying veneer to the top, and then I'll smooth the edges with 120 grit. I'd like to thank Molly for buying me coffees. You've made me so happy. If you want to support the channel, check the description below and you'll find more ways in which to help me deliver great content. What am I going to do with such an amount of love and cuteness? My heart melts. After lots of doggy kisses, it is time to stain the top. I'm applying an oil-based stain in dark American walnut. I'll give it 3 coats. As usual, you need to wipe off the excess with some paper towel. Now, I'll apply some putty to the places that need extra care. Once the base is stained and dry, it is time to attach it to the bottom of the piece. Again, I used handmade pocket holes. I also put some screws on the front for extra strength. Now finally, it is time to protect the base and get ready for paint. I am going to be using green. What color represents spring more than green? This is eucalyptus green, and I chose it after asking my friend and his daughters for the right hue of green. I'm in love with this color, and as always, bare paint is creamy and the coverage is so good. I'm going to be using a paintbrush and a foam roller. I'm really obsessed with this color. Now it is time to make the holes for the hardware. It is the end of the summer here in Chile and the temperature is still hot, so the paint dries very fast. In spite of that, I am waiting for a couple of hours in between coats. Here you can see how light the color looks when wet. Going to the upper part of the piece, it is time to tape all those parts with new veneer. Now this is getting ready. I'll let it dry overnight before applying the top coat. The following day it was time to finish the piece. I didn't like the way the top screws look, so I'll conceal them with 2 pieces of wood that I'll stain to match the piece. I let them dry and then removed the tape. With my putty knife and some baby wipes, I cleaned every imperfection. And then it was time to start sealing. I am going to use water-based polyurethane in satin finish. I drilled the wood pieces in place and continued applying the first coat. I applied 3 coats of poly to the piece. I used some felt pads to protect the floors. I sealed the base using wax. It was time to put everything back and to stage the piece. First, let's remember how it used to look. And here it is now. It looks fresh and modern without losing its original charm. It is the perfect entertainment center for a modern family. Don't miss the chance to watch all those other videos that are taking part in the challenge. Thanks for watching!